Hey everyone! So, what if you could talk to an AI and get exactly what you want, without having to mess around with complicated setups or feeding it a bunch of examples? Well, that's the power we're going to dive into today with a really cool concept called zero-shot learning. It's all about how to craft the perfect instruction to unlock some pretty incredible results.
This quote right here, this gets to the very heart of it. Tell AI once, no examples needed. I mean, it sounds almost like magic, doesn't it? But this is the central promise of zero-shot learning. It's the power to get what you want from an AI without having to show it a single example first.
Sounds simple enough, but, what's really happening under the hood? How can a huge language model just understand our requests with zero examples? That's the big question, and we're going to tackle it right now.
All right, let's get into the core concept here, the power of instructions. This is actually a fundamental shift from the way we usually think about teaching an AI. We're moving away from learning by example and diving headfirst into learning by instruction.
So, what is zero-shot learning exactly? Well, you can think of it as the art of communicating with an AI using pure, direct instructions. No templates, no samples to copy, none of that. You are simply telling it as clearly as you can what you want it to create.
This slide illustrates the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got few-shot learning. That's kind of like showing a chef a bunch of photos of a dessert and saying, make something like this. You're giving it examples. But zero-shot learning, on the right, that's like giving the chef a detailed recipe. You are providing direct instructions. You're telling, not showing.
Okay, but there is a little catch. Zero-shot learning works best when the task is something the AI already has a general grasp of. Things like summarizing a piece of text or translating a sentence. It's not learning from scratch, it's just leveraging its massive pre-existing knowledge to follow your very specific command.
So if it's all about the instructions, then the quality of those instructions is, well, everything. So how do we make them really effective? Let's break down how to craft the perfect prompts to get exactly what you want from an AI.
It really boils down to these 4 essential steps. You can think of this as your personal checklist for a perfect zero-shot prompt. Clarity, format, constraints, and audience. If you can get these 4 things right, you are well on your way.
And here's what that looks like in practice. First, be direct. Clarity is way more important than length, every single time. Next, be specific about the format you want. Do you want a list, a paragraph, a table? Tell it. Then add constraints. These are like guardrails. Set rules like word count or tone. And finally, and this is so important, define your audience. Explain quantum physics to a 5th grader is going to give you a much more useful result than just explain quantum physics.
Okay, so we know zero-shot is incredibly powerful for common tasks, but it's not a silver bullet. It's a fantastic tool, for sure, but it's not the only tool in your toolkit. And knowing when to switch gears is just as important as knowing how to write a great instruction.
And that brings us to the really crucial strategic question. When is a pure instruction just not enough? When do you need to stop telling the AI what to do and start showing it with a few examples? This is when you really level up from just being a user to being a true AI collaborator.
This table here gives us a super clear guide. For common and simple stuff like summaries or quick translations, stick with zero-shot. It's fast, it's efficient. But when you need a very specific structure or a really unique writing style or some kind of complex format, that's your cue. It's time to switch to few-shot and provide a few examples to guide the AI.
The whole point is this: use the right tool for the right job. Before you even start writing your prompt, just take a second to think about your goal. Is it simple and straightforward? Go with zero-shot. Is it nuanced and super specific? A few examples might just be your best bet.
All right, let's bring it all together. We've talked about what zero-shot learning is, how to craft those perfect instructions, and just as importantly, when to know its limits. Now it's time to put all this powerful knowledge to work. So let's just recap the key takeaways real quick. At its core, zero-shot is all about giving pure instructions, not examples. To make those instructions really sing, you have to be clear about the format, constraints, and audience. Use it as your go-to for speed on everyday tasks, but don't forget to switch to few-shot when you need a really specific style. Mastering both is the absolute key.
And that leaves us with this final thought. In the world of zero-shot learning, your very first instruction holds all the power. There are no examples to fall back on. It's just your words. So the question is, now that you know how to command an AI with pure instruction, what will you ask?